Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If we reflect over the last month and the happenings in terms of service delivery in Roshnee, there was a period of 4 consecutive days when most of our community, if not the entire community, was left without water for a period of 4 days. We then also experienced a period in some areas in Roshnee where there was a complete blackout for up to 20 hours in the day. There was another time during this month where for a full 24-hour cycle, there were areas in Roshnee that didn't enjoy the accessibility to electricity. As I went to sit on my seat a few moments ago, somebody mentioned to me that in parts of Roshnee, there were durations which lasted for as long as 48 hours, where people were left without electricity. Now, if we reflect over Roshnee over the years, one resident had mentioned to me that perhaps this period that we experienced this month may very well have been the rock bottom, the lowest, absolute lowest point in terms of service delivery that our community has experienced. Now, when we look at that and we consider rock bottom, there is one very hopeful element of rock bottom. It is that when a person reaches the rock bottom, there's no other direction that we can travel in besides traveling upwards. So once you hit rock bottom, the only other direction that a person can travel is then you have to make your way upwards. And perhaps this historic meeting tonight can be the catalyst for us as a community in terms of service delivery to now make our way upwards once we've experienced our absolute rock bottom in terms of service delivery. My mandate this evening is to discuss a plan by which we can navigate our journey upwards in a sound trajectory without too many obstacles. And how do we do so? So if you study the nations of the past and the civilizations of the past, Maulana Abul Hassan Ali al-Nadwi has authored a very insightful book which speaks about the incline and the decline of civilizations of the past. And if you study that book, you will come to notice that it's a glaring fact that when a community develops and imbibes within their unity, that unity results in an upward incline for that community. But as soon as a community loses unity and the community compromises on unity, then the direct byproduct of that is that that community goes into a state of decline. Let's reflect on the prophetic legacy of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prior to him gaining prophethood, in Makkah, there was a project that the community took up collectively. And that project was the reconstruction of the Holy House of Allah, the Kaaba. And the entire project went relatively smooth. Come to the end of the project, a very significant part of the construction of the Kaaba needed to occur. And that was the placing of the black stone, which is known in Arabic as Hajar al-Aswad, or Al-Hajar al-Aswad, to place it into the Kaaba in its correct position. Now there's a great deal of prestige attached to this. There's a great deal of honor attached to it. Whichever family or individual is blessed with this opportunity will be greatly privileged. So now an argument broke out towards the evening. Which family or which individual will be blessed with this privilege? And despite the fact that they were standing right before the Kaaba, this argument in this exchange became so heated that it almost led to blows. It almost led to people drawing their weapons right in front of the Kaaba. Finally, somebody of a sound mind interjected, and they said, none of us will have this privilege. Let's resolve to an amicable solution. Our amicable solution will go as follows. We will all collectively spend the night in the Holy House of Allah. By the end of the night, the first person to enter into the Haram, that person will be privileged with the opportunity of placing Al-Hajar al-Aswad in its correct position. They spent the night and they waited through the night. Eventually in the early part of the morning, lo and behold, as the people are seated there, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, still a young man at the time, he enters into the Haram. Once he enters into the blessed precincts, immediately there is consensus that this is a distinguished we are all happy with this decree. He should be the one conferred with the privilege of placing the black stone in its rightful position. But my respected brothers and sisters, this was no ordinary individual. He was a nation builder. He was a community builder. He was a man who stood for reconciliation. He was a man who stood for unity. So he used this opportunity not for privilege. He optimized on the opportunity for a greater goal. And what he did was, he said that each family, each tribe should appoint one representative. That representative should hold a different edge of a cloth. Thereafter, he placed the black stone in the middle of that cloth. And he told all of the people who are the representatives, bringing pride to their families and their communities and their villages, everybody collectively, you have the opportunity to go together and place the black stone in its rightful position. Our Prophet had the opportunity to optimize on what he had. He could exclusively take the privilege for himself. But he used the opportunity, considering the fact that the day before disclosed and manifest the volatility of the community, manifest the undercurrents, manifest the unspoken clashes in the community. He used the opportunity to ease the situation and create unity in that community. There is an African proverb which is really profound and something we need to think about. It goes as follows, that when the elephants fight, it's not the elephants that suffer, but it's the grass beneath them that suffers. When the elephants fight, it's not the elephants that suffer, it's the grass beneath them that suffer. Let's be very clear and let's put this on record, that it takes years, it takes a lifetime of perspiration, of sleepless nights, of blood, of sacrifice to build something great, to build a community, to build a family, to build an organization. It takes years of effort and sacrifice. But my respected brothers and sisters of this loving community, it takes one reckless moment, one irresponsible moment, one egotistical moment, one uncontrollable, nerve-driven moment to destroy what was built over a lifetime. May the Almighty make us all builders and not breakers. Let's all say Amen to that. In a practical sense, how do we build unity? The first is by creating the right outlook to community work. Sayyidina Habibuna Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the Prophet of Islam, spoke about leadership and community work. And he said, Sayyidul Qawmi fi safari khadimuhum. The true leader in a group of people who are traveling collectively is not the person sitting on the highest horse, nor is it the most powerful individual. The true leader is the one who serves the group of individuals, and that is leadership and that is community work. We speak about servant leadership. The Prophet Muhammad spoke about what true leadership is. True leadership is servant leadership. In fact, the Quran very clearly issues a warning, and this warning is very severe. The Quran says, Tilka darul akhirah. There is a place in the akhirah, in reference to heaven, in reference to the gardens of Eden, in reference to Jannah. نَجْعَلُهَا لِلَّذِينَ لَا يُرِيدُونَ عُلُوًّا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا فَسَادًا. That place has been specially created for the one who doesn't seek a lofty position on earth, nor does he seek to create corruption on earth. My point is, in order to serve in a position of community service, it's not about the privilege. It's not about the access that you will get. It's not about the honor. It's not about the right to flex. But it's about being willing to serve. Service is true leadership. May Allah the Almighty bless us with a true understanding of what actual community work is. You know, I came across something on somebody's status, and it was actually a profound point. The point they made is that the greed and the lust and the toxic desire for leadership can be so detrimental that a person can become willing to burn down the castle, even if it means he has to rule over ashes, but he'll burn down the castle even if he has to rule over ashes. May the Almighty give us the right answers. Finally, I'm going to make 2 points and then I'm going to conclude. The final point is In order to cultivate unity in our community, the first is to understand the right outlook to community work. The next is to avoid suspicion on one another. Avoid having a poor perception of one another. I sincerely believe that we have gathered as a community who are the offspring of outstanding people. I believe that we have gathered tonight with pure intent. And I sincerely believe this. And Allah tells us in the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ijtanibu kathiran min adh-dhann. O you who believe, stay away from a lot of suspicion. In the ba'd adh-dhann ism, because some of your suspicion will actually be sinful. So perhaps if you have suspicion on others, that suspicion may sometimes be accurate, but in other situations will actually be accusing people of something that they're not actually guilty of. So that's another consideration that we need to make. Finally, when we now as a community come together, and perhaps the outcome of tonight's meeting would be that we would appoint a task team to deal with the electricity crisis, or maybe the broader service delivery crisis that we're experiencing in Roshnee. Perhaps that might just be the outcome of tonight's discussion. If that is the outcome of tonight's discussion, I want to appeal to your higher self, to your discerning self, to your smart self, that when you as a community come together to voice who should occupy the position of leadership, I want to appeal to everybody to apply your sense of discretion in a very discerning manner. What is the criteria? I'll give you the criteria. The Prophet Muhammad was blessed with prophethood in the mountain. And then when he returned from the mountain, he was in a state of uncertainty. And he was scared. What had just transpired? And his wife Khadija, radiallahu anha, gave him comfort. And Khadija started to remind him that your Allah will not disgrace you. Your Allah will not put you in a position of disgrace because you possess the following qualities. Now these qualities that I'm about to iterate and mention, let these qualities be the criteria for the type of people that we appoint in positions of leadership. Khadija radiallahu anha said to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you are a person who maintains family ties. You are a person who is truthful. You never speak a bad word. You are a person who bears the burdens of others. You are a person who takes on the debts of others. You tend to the poor. You are trustworthy. You return things that are entrusted to you. You fulfill the rights of guests. You are always willing to assist with good words. And you are never involved in promiscuous activity. Our appointment today for something as critical as the electricity issue, where elderly women and little babies are suffering, for something like this, we cannot appoint people based on their popularity. We cannot appoint people based on their net worth. We cannot appoint people based on our relationship with them. We cannot appoint people based on favors that you are going to get from them. We need to appoint people based on the depth of their personality, based on the depth of their character, based on the benefit that the broader community would get. And the final element, sorry I said final 3 times already, but the final element, in order to eradicate any disunity, is remember, we need to respect processes. Tonight the community is gathered not for a trivial reason. The community is gathered to come together with our thinking caps and apply our minds. But we can trivialize tonight's meeting by not respecting the processes. How do we respect the processes? وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. Consult people in your matters. Come together, apply your minds. Amicably, in a cordial setting, consult one another. But فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ. But once you come with an outcome, and a decision is made, and a resolution is made, فَتَوَكَّلَ عَلَى اللَّهِ. Then don't go back on that decision. Tonight's meeting on this cold night should not be trivialized with many other sub-meetings, with many other side meetings, with not accepting the outcomes. We have come together tonight. Let's all put our hearts and minds in it with an open heart and an open mind to say we are going to make tonight worth it because we're going to participate in the process. And whether the outcome is according to the way I want or not, I'm going to accept the outcome because Allah in the Quran ordered us to consult. and the result of the consultation should be accepted and should be respected. I thank you for your attention.